Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the CARE method, which is the four-step framework I use to train offshore SDRs to stop treating small talk like another sales script so that they can gain the social intelligence and the situational awareness to make every conversation a smooth process from rapport building all the way up to the close in just one conversation. If you've never met me before, I'm Peter Kaufman, and no conversation about training offshore SDRs can be complete without first breaking down for you how I got to be in this really cool, really effective position where I can make one of the best impacts on your bottom line that can happen in business. And that is, I have been teaching improvisation all over Eastern Europe for the past 9 years. Primarily, my theater, Red Ball Theater, was based in Budapest, Hungary. And that was the core of my home until COVID hit. COVID hit, I put all my business online. I moved to Ukraine and I started just targeting the best value I can with improvisation, which is how offshore SDRs are interacting with Americans like myself. The problem facing your offshore reps, and this is particularly true if we're talking about Eastern Europeans like Russians, Ukrainians, Romanians, Moldovans, Polish guys, but this is generally true even if we're talking about offshores in India, Bangladesh, Philippines. The biggest problem we have is rigid application of the training. I'm going to speak for Russians right now, but Russians are very good at following directions. So if you say, here's the sales process, here's the questions you're going to ask, they can pretty much just go down the list, say, check, check, check. But if things go off script or if we need to improvise, we are dropping the ball and we're certainly losing sales in the situation. Now, the problem that holds people back from flow and improvisation is mental blocks. So in more Eastern cultures, improvisation isn't quite so valued as it is in America. When I was growing up, I was taught to raise my hand and make a mistake. And making mistakes were good. Making mistakes was part of the process of becoming the best version of myself. And sadly, in the post-Soviet Eastern developing countries' education systems, mistakes are not good. You'll get yelled at, you'll be made fun of, your teachers will really get angry at you. So we have fundamental different in mentality. And the problem is when we start to use the sales script as a life jacket, as a safety net, rather than using it as a starting point to help us have really powerful conversations. And ultimately speaking, this leads us to poor calibration to Western social standards, because the things that are okay in Russia aren't always okay in America. And simply put, you don't have the experiences that we do. So we really know how to make the most out of small talk, like you would if you've been growing up doing it every day. And ultimately, small talk can look more like an interrogation than rapport building when you do it the wrong way. So let's get into it. This is really what you guys are all here for, which is what is the CARE method? And it's really simple. It's 4 concepts which are designed to really target these mental blocks, this rigidity in your sales conversations, and this lack of understanding of what a small talk conversation can be. And concept number 1 is what we call collaboration. Now, we start with this because it is the foundation of your interaction with people. I'll tell you a story. One time I got contacted by a Japanese film director. This guy, he is a Hollywood director. He has directed Morgan Freeman. He's an A-lister. He gets millions of dollars to make movies. And he contacted me because when he was pitching his current movie, his mind was going blank. And he thought it was because of English. And that's kind of how we got connected. He knew I was this charisma teacher who specialized in sales and pitching. And that's how he reached out to me. But what we figured out was he had a mental block where when he was pitching producers, he didn't view them as partners. He viewed them as obstacles in the way of me and my art. And I got to tell you, if you view the person on the opposite side of the phone call as an obstacle in the way of me and my paycheck, in the way of me and my art, in the way of me and looking good to my team, you're never going to be able to develop a real connection with them. The instant partner frame is more of a mental coaching where we start to change the way you see the person on the other end of the screen. You have to genuinely see them as a friend, a partner, a collaborator in this process. After all, if the product I'm selling is really life-changing for them, they want me to succeed in selling them as much as I want to succeed in selling for my own personal gain, right? They want me to win. That's collaboration. Whereas if you go in with a mindset of business is about power and negotiations and always winning, this doesn't really work with the American market as well as it does in other markets. We value personal relationships. We want to love the person we're talking to. We want to know that they're on our side, that we have trust. And this starts before you even open your mouth. You have to see the person as a partner. Okay. And by the way, you can catch that guy's movie coming out on Netflix by the end of the year. So this stuff really does work. The A, number 2, is acknowledge. Now, this is honestly the simplest one, but it's also the most important, is when people are opening up to you, you need to make them feel heard. So if you ask, hey, how was your weekend? Classic small talk. And then they say, oh, yeah, I went to grandma's and we swam at the lake and had barbecue. It was great. And you say, thank you. How is your business going? Right? This is checking off the check marks in your sales script. Well, what you're not doing is acknowledging what they said. And acknowledging isn't, oh, yeah, grandma's. I have a grandma too. I like barbecue. I like food. Like, this is silly. Acknowledging, you can simply mirror them, right? They say, I went to grandma's and I had a good time. You can just say, yeah, grandma's. That must have been a fun time, man. You can literally take the same language they use and mirror it back to them. They will love you for it. And this is actually a very deep concept in sales, which is you want to get the prospect to say the problem in their own words and then sell them the problem. Sell them the solution to that problem. We're all selling products that can solve many problems, and the problems have different interpretations to each person. So like when I sell charisma coaching, I'm never selling charisma, right? But rather I'm selling, hey, you can make $1 million on your next pitch. Or I'm selling, hey, when you have to get on camera for your business, you're going to actually be excited for that shooting day rather than live in fear of it. Like charisma is not a graspable concept, just to get ahead of ourselves. You have to be speaking in the language your client is using. And to do that, you can start by simply adding this layer of mirroring and acknowledgement. As I said, it's the simplest. You just have to repeat after them. But when you really implement this and you can start to really develop that insight into the client's world, that's when they will start to feel that rapport, which is the whole point of why we're here today in the first place. Number 3 is realize. And this is what I talk about graspable language. So realize is, it's not about realizing like understanding. It's more about realizing as in making something real, right? To use my example again, charisma is not real. Giving a speech where your boss sends you an email afterwards saying, man, that was a great speech. This is graspable. And when we're talking about the benefits of our product and also the second order benefits, the benefits of the benefits, right? So if I'm selling you factory equipment, it's like, yeah, we're going to sell you factory equipment. It's going to, increase your bottom line 20%. You're going to get 20% more revenue out of this. And that's going to allow you to expand to more countries, which is going to allow you to build yourself a global brand and smash the competition while they're left wondering, how did you get ahead? Right? If let's do that again. First order benefit is you're going to get some new factory equipment, right? Second order benefit, we're going to increase your revenue 20%. Third order benefit, That's going to allow you to expand and conquer the world, right? And in each of these benefit stacks, we're going to need to use graspable language. We're going to need to realize the power of our product in reality. And the best reality we can do is to use the reality the client tells us, which is why we're mirroring. This is really powerful, guys. Making graspable language to make your product actually real in the person's life. Finally, we have escalate, which is as we're building rapport, we need to be escalating from, hey, we're friendly, we like each other, to, hey, we've got some business to talk about, to, hey, actually, this could really help you. Are you ready to talk details? To handling objections and getting that money into the account. This escalation keeps you out of the friend zone, even as you're building that rapport straight off the bat. Collaboration. You're coming in with a mindset of we are partners in this process. Acknowledge, use the person's language so you can understand the world and make them feel seen, heard, and appreciated. Realize, bring your product into surface level reality using graspable language and talking about benefits of benefits of benefits. And finally, escalating the process, because you as the SDR, you as the sales manager are still responsible for bringing that conversation up into hot buying, ready to put money down. In practice, when you talk about implementing this, how you can go from these 4 concepts to actually getting them into your team, what you're going to want to do is realize that each of these topics are fundamentally different. Collaborative frame and changing how you see an interaction is more mindset and mental coaching. Mirroring and acknowledgement is more something you just want to do eyeball to eyeball in a classroom setting. Graspable language is something you can do on Google Docs collaboratively, like anytime, anywhere. But escalation is also something that needs to be trained more in a pressure-filled situation, because having this situational intelligence to escalate a conversation while you're thinking about everything else adds complexity. So you really want to be sandboxing all of these. So you're training each one individually before you get them back to the live sales calls. And for this, obviously, you do want to be looking at sales calls and looking at pressure points. When the client says something, are you mirroring back? Are you acknowledging them? Are you escalating conversation? So you want to look at live sales calls and dig into where are these concepts being done well and where are these concepts not making the mark. Next, you want to cultivate a culture. You want to treat your team like they're Americans. You want to be more optimistic, more emotionally sensitive. Why? Because when you treat them like that, they will better understand how us Americans think, feel, and speak. And finally, you want to make sure that each individual gets personalized coaching. The actual mental blocks that block people from really implementing this are very unique to the individual. So even if you're implementing it from a top-down point of view, you want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable raising their hand, being wrong, so that they can get the help that they need. That's it, guys. I sincerely hope that you've taken at least one graspable idea out of here. You can get going by talking to your team leads, talking to your SDRs, and starting to get them to understand these concepts. If you need more help, if you need clarification, or you need more hand-holding on any of these concepts, never hesitate to reach out to me. Always happy to take a quick 15-minute conversation, see some of the blind spots you might be missing, and if collaborating is something you might want to do, we can have that conversation as well. Thanks for your attention today. Look forward to catching up with you soon, and always keep an eye on my channels on LinkedIn for more content coming at you each week. Catch you guys later.